Am I working? Okay, thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting for Community Consolidated School District 46. It is Wednesday, October 15th, and we are here at Frederick School in Grays Lake. Can I get a call to order and a roll call, please?
Mack, absent. Braden,
Here.
Nash, here. Halverson,
Here.
Hune,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Weedman,
Here.
student reps, Johan Akumbi, Genevieve Hollenstein, and Charlie Jarosik. Here.
All right, that gives us a quorum. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve our agenda for this evening, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Miller,
Aye.
Halverson,
Aye.
Weedman, Braden,
Aye.
Hune,
Aye.
and Nash.
Okay. Do we have any public comments for this evening? Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to turn to our presentations for the evening, and the first one is the Grays Lake Middle School Way of the Panther. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, as always, for allowing us to come and be part of your meeting tonight. And as always, I have brought a bunch of very excited and a little nervous students. During this first presentation, we kind of get our feet wet with getting up and presenting in front of you, and they have practiced a lot and are ready to go. So they are very excited to share some of their big thinking, big ideas that we have that we're going to be researching and working on this school year to help create GMS, make us just a little bit better as they work through their 8th grade years. So here we go.
The Way of the Panther is a group of GMS students and educators value leadership, productivity, and teamwork. We help to make every voice, big or small, and heard. Our goal is to better GMS for the future and to leave a legacy of inspiration and passion for the upcoming students to continue our work.
The Way of the Panther members were selected by volunteering through a Google form. The questions on the form asked to define leadership in our own way and why we would like to be part of this leadership team. We were also asked how we'd work to improve our school and our community. At this point in our group, we've had 5 full group meetings and a couple of small group meetings to brainstorm and discuss what we want to accomplish for our school this year. All members are eager to find ways to make our school better and to ensure that everyone at Grays Lake Middle School feels safe and welcomed. Our first big idea is No Place for Hate. We will work with Mrs. Julian and Mrs. Palmer to expand on our No Place for Hate expectation to get the message out to all students at GMS that bullying is not okay. We would like to show the students how bullying affects others in a way that is better for our specific age group.
We want all staff and students to be considerate, including everyone, and try to make someone smile every day. Stick up for others, speak up when you think something is wrong, and don't be afraid to talk to a teacher if you need to. Own your actions, show understanding, and foster safety and trust for all.
Our second big idea is the school assembly and F&O planning. We will work with Miss Eddie, Mr. Jagger, and Miss Reed to plan and put on more exciting and fun all-school assemblies and Friday night out events. Do a practice run for the assembly so everything goes smoothly for the people running it.
Our last assembly was super fun. Tons of people played the games and, the excitement was there. We'll plan big activities before the big day so more kids are hyped and everyone's excited to come. You will also be using a theme suggestion box for the 7th and 8th graders, so we will be able to show them what we have in plan and make something for everyone to look forward to.
We will work with Ms. Blackburn, Mr. Smith, and Ms. Murphy to work on a plan to create career day opportunities for our 8th grade students. One of our awesome team members came up with the idea of doing a career fair.
Since we are already going to the fairgrounds on October 22nd, we think doing this will help students understand the different jobs, colleges, and people chose and what they did to help them choose. We could invite people from the fairgrounds or people in college to come talk to us during lunch or PantherCon. It is a cool way for Panthers to learn more about different jobs and colleges and what people actually do in them.
We will work with Mr. Smith and our D46 office staff and the Grays Lake Community Board to create an outdoor classroom / garden in space for GMS. We'll also be starting a club to help take care of the garden and get more people involved.
It is a fun way to learn new things while also doing something hands-on and educational that is beneficial for all of us. The club could inspire others to do cool projects of their own. This is a chance to come together as a community, hang out, and enjoy growing things as a team. Another one of our ideas is the GMS Student Chromebook Shutoff Expectations. We will work with Mr. Smith and our D46 Technology Department to discuss the possibility of extending the time for our middle school students to have access to their Chromebooks each night. We talked about how a lot of students are super busy with sports and stuff outside and after school and don't get home till really late, sometimes even 9 p.m. or later. Our Chromebook shutting off at 10 p.m. makes it hard to finish work if we've been at practice or a game, because after we have to drive back, eat, shower, and more.
Some students have other devices, but not everyone does, so it's unfair for those who rely on their Chromebook to get their work done. We get that sleep is important, but the stress from not finishing our work on time can mess up our whole day and stress us out. Less restrictions for just GMS could really be beneficial to many students.
Another one of our big ideas is the Student Alice Update. We will work with Mr. Smith and our D46 Technology Department to see if there's a way or program that can give us our students more information and access to safety programs at GMS. Making safety drills more realistic will help us respond calmly and confidently when real emergencies occur.
We are going to research to see if there is an app that would go directly to the student if a situation were to occur, like the fire alarm that could ping everyone in the building right away. Substitutes don't have the Raptor system, so we want to help further develop a procedure that would be stated on our building PA system.
We will work with Mr. Stiff and Miss Murphy to plan and facilitate a great opportunity for our incoming 7th graders to feel comfortable making their move to GMS. It would also be awesome to have more of a tour to help the students feel more comfortable at the new start of the year.
We could show spots where students can talk to teachers privately if they ever need support without stress. Having 6th graders visit our school early would help them get used to the layout and see how things work here. This could happen on a half day, so we don't have to worry about class schedules or lunch.
So those are all of our big ideas that our team will work on this school year. As you can see, not all of our teammates were able to join us tonight, but here are some of the names of everyone on our team this year that will be working hard to achieve our goals.
Thank you to our D46 School Board of Education, Dr. Glickman, Mrs. Gluck, and the D46 Learning Community for allowing us this time to introduce ourselves and giving us the opportunity to speak about what makes GMS such a wonderful place to be. We look forward to seeing you next time with updates on how our projects are going.
Thank you so much, students. Do we have questions or comments from the board?
Thank you guys for presenting this evening. You did a phenomenal job, and you all should be very proud of yourselves. You guys have a super bold agenda, and I absolutely love it, especially the Chromebook shutoff, because I would get that complaint in my household too. My question is, with such an ambitious agenda, how do you guys plan on prioritizing or getting everything accomplished? Are you going to break out in teams, or how's that going to work?
After a few more meetings, from the last meetings, we've talked about who wants to do certain projects and our ideas for each project. So we're planning on breaking off into groups so each group can focus on the one activity so we can accomplish more throughout the whole year.
I think that's a great idea, and you all will be fantastic. I'm certain. Can't wait for the update. Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. These ideas are fantastic, and as Mrs. Nash said, they are very ambitious. And I just want to comment on the fact that you have these wonderful ideas that you've prepared, but the fact that you have spent time on your presentation skills makes it really clear and concise. And us as listeners, we're able to really focus on the ideas because we're not distracted by fidgeting or things that it can make public speaking difficult. So I commend you on your public speaking skills.
Thank you.
Before we move to our next presentation, this is the part where I'm supposed to gracefully invite our students and the parents that came with them. If it doesn't work for you to stay for the rest of the meeting, we understand. We'll give you a moment to exit. We'd also love for you to stay. We have 3 wonderful 8th graders who are sitting at the board tonight who will be participating in the meeting, so it'll be great to have some people watching that. But if there are people who have to go, we're just going to pause and give you a chance to do that. Thanks so much. While that's happening, our next presentation, Mr. Wildman, I'm very sorry you have to follow that, is going to be about the tentative property tax levy, which is going to be just as exciting.
I think we should get the Panthers to present this next year. Good evening, everyone. I'll be presenting the proposed 2025 property tax levy presentation for Community Consolidated School District 46. This presentation outlines the process, key figures, and rationale behind the proposed levy, which is a required annual step in funding our schools. As with all financial decisions, our levy process is guided by the district's mission, empowering learners, creating equity, and cultivating community. These are not just words, they serve as the foundation of how we allocate resources and make financial recommendations. Our goal is to ensure every dollar supports equitable opportunities and high-quality education for all students. This work connects directly with our strategic plan goals and Board Policy 4:20, which calls for maintaining a fund balance between 25% and 30% for operating expenditures. This range supports fiscal stability, and we're also committed to being transparent and alignment, ensuring our financial practices are clear and that they directly support district priorities. So here's the timetable. Excuse me. So here is our timetable for the levy process. On September 17th, we held a preliminary discussion. That was the Finance Committee. Tonight, October 15th, we are presenting the tentative levy. The legal public notice will be presented tomorrow, and we will hold a public hearing on November 19th. Finally, the adopted levy will be filed with Lake County by December 23rd. That is the final Tuesday in the fiscal year. And this ensures that we meet all statutory deadlines under Illinois School Code. To frame the levy discussion, it's helpful we recall where our revenues come from. The majority of CCSD's operating funds are generated locally through property taxes, which account for 56% of our total budget. The remaining funds come from state and federal sources, and from fees, grants, and other revenues. Because local funding drives our fiscal stability, the levy process is essential to maintaining our programs and services. On the expenditure side, most of our spending is invested directly in people and classrooms. Combining salaries and benefits represent our largest categories, reflecting the staff who serve our students every day. The remainder includes supplies, contracted services, transportation, and maintenance of facilities. Each line item supports our mission and strategic goals. So let's jump into the levy and review some key terms of the process itself. The Property Tax Extension to Limitation Law, or PTEL, limits how much property tax revenue can come from one year to the next. The increase is capped to the lesser of 5% or the prior year's CPI plus the value of new construction. This limitation applies to the PTEL limiting rate, which is different from the property tax rate. The Lake County Clerk's Office ultimately determines the final tax extension based on a levy request, applying these limits to calculate the allowable rate. To clarify a few of these terms, the tax levy is the total amount of money we request from property taxes. The extension refers to the actual taxes billed to taxpayers. The CPI measures inflation and determines our maximal allowable growth. And EAV, the equalized assessed valuation, is the total taxable value of property within the district after county and state equalization. And for the 2025 levy, a few key points to point out. The CPI is 2.9%. We're estimating construction as 948,149, just below $1 million. The extension was that amount there, 42,651,785, and the proposed extension is 44,031,779, including debt service and our IMRF portion, which is payable to CEDAW. The extension equals 45,098,190. Finally, under Public Act 102-0895, districts are required to disclose their cash reserves annually. This includes all funds tied to the operating levy and the obligations secured by those funds. We continue to monitor our fund balances closely to remain within board policy and ensure long-term financial health. That includes my presentation on the 2025 property tax levy. I'll open up to questions from the board.
Thank you. Questions? My only question is CPI set at 2.9, that's final, Mr. Wildman?
Yeah, that's the December 2024 value, which represents the tax year of 2025.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move to board reports, and I'll start on this side with Mr. Weedman. We'll go around. Okay.
So I wanted to call attention to a Prairie View grad, Jordan Helvey, who is going to be working with me as an intern. She is also working at Liberty Prairie as an intern, and our work is going to overlap just a bit. So I wanted to remind you, during the Sustainability Task Force, we heard about the Pathways program. There are 7 pathways. It's a nationally recognized program that allows students to take classes which prepare them for an internship, which then prepare them for the workforce or for governance. And so therefore, she's going to be working with me. And she is going to be developing a session for Discovery Days, Imagination Days. Which one did I miss? Thank you. Exploration Day, depending on the school. And so she is going to create a session that features a food shed map. And it's going to connect our outdoor learning spaces to the larger food shed, the larger regional food shed. So I'm pretty excited for her. She's going to do many things, but her first tasks are going to be to go visit the outdoor learning spaces at the different schools after school and kind of get a feel for what they look like collectively. And I'm bringing this to your attention because outdoor learning spaces were part of our strategic plan, and it's just a sweet full circle because she started at Prairie View and then went to, she's now at Central, able to take these classes. And she's going to gain skills in 4 of the 7 pathways, which is pretty exciting. So I just wanted you to see that and ask you to join me in welcoming Jordan and the work that she's going to do for us.
Thank you. I have no report tonight, Mrs. Nash.
Thank you, Mrs. Braden. I have 2 things this evening. The first thing is I had the opportunity to attend on October 7th community conversations with our mayor, Mayor Elizabeth Davies. And so if you haven't had an opportunity to take advantage of those conversations, I would strongly encourage it. It's really just candid, transparent, very informal conversations just to get insight into the mayor's vision, how things are progressing thus far in her term as the newly elected mayor here in Grays Lake. Some of the things we spoke about was with regards to ICE response. We know that there's been a lot of activity in our surrounding neighborhoods and communities that have been impacted, and so the mayor is very stout in that we have not and we will not defray from Governor Pritzker's mandate in terms of protecting our community and our students, and that was really good to hear because I know a lot of kiddos are especially concerned with regards to what may or may not happen on school grounds. And so it was also especially important, Dr. Glickman, you and your staff, to refresh our D46 ICE response guidelines and protocols. So thank you for that. In addition to the mayor's insights on ICE, she also talked about community partnership opportunities, some things that are happening on the infrastructure front that includes a lot of sustainability. So that was exciting to hear that as new projects are coming into our community and district specific, how it's going to impact sustainability, and certainly investment dollars that will help to defray the cost of our tax overhead, Mr. Waldman. So that was super nice to hear. Also, we have a new pickleball facility, go figure, here in Grays Lake off of Atkinson Road. I've been wondering what that building was across from Fierce Church. And so if you're interested in pickleball, we have a new facility here. The next opportunity to engage with the mayor will be in February of 2026. She tries to do these once a quarter. So if you haven't had an opportunity to attend one of the meetings that the mayor has, certainly February 2026 is the next opportunity to engage with her and her trustee team over coffee. So that's super awesome. And I have to acknowledge, we were talking about, opportunities and career pathways and such, and so I have to acknowledge a few folks that I see in the audience here, some members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated based out of Lake County, Illinois, I see here this evening, the chapter president and also member. And as you know, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority and Lake County Pearls has been an advocate and partner for us in our annual Juneteenth walks that we've conducted here in D46. And they also have awesome scholarship opportunities. So, Chrissy, as you talk about your students that are looking to come up through career pathways and graduating seniors, that's something that we would want them to look into through Lake County Pearls in the spring. Great opportunity there. So, great opportunity to bring our community together. And thank you all for being here this evening. That concludes my board report.
Thank you. All right, student board members.
Hello everybody, my name is Charlie and I'm going to update you on some of our recent after-school activities happening around GMS. We just ended our fall season where we had girls and boys soccer, softball, and cross country taking place. Our girls soccer team ended in second place after all of the regular season games they played, and in their conference tournament they got third. They worked hard, had fun, and really showed how amazing they are. Our boys soccer team had many people try out, but only a special handful made it on the team. The boys tied for first at the end of their regular season. They enjoyed playing soccer this year, and they worked hard to accomplish their goals. Our girls softball team started with 2 new coaches, and they did amazing. This was a very competitive season, and we ended up right in the middle. Our cross-country team also had a very successful season with the boys team and 2 girls headed to state this weekend. This season started out with 70 participants, and now we are down to the final 9. We also had our first round of intramurals in clubs taking place this fall, and we're so excited to see over 80 students participating. Intramurals teach students about teamwork, sportsmanship, and confidence. Our students participated in the following intramurals: golf, yearbook, board game, drama club, Lego club, video game club, photography, D&D, art club, cooking, and parlor bead club. We now have basketball, dance, and cheer trials starting this week. We are beginning our next chapter of new sports for the year, and many students and teachers are so excited to shine and show positive school sportsmanship. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hello, my name is Johan, and I'm going to update you on our update you on our update to our student announcements that I've been part of this year. The Panther podcast is our student-run announcement video played daily during the students' first period. The podcast helps students know more about what's happening at school. Students from Mrs. Polanzani's class has been recording the opening and closing segments, while other student volunteers contributed the rest. Students record their segments before school, during STEM class, or during Panther Block. A total of 18 students have participated so far. Our podcast includes the weather, lunch special, joke of the day, sports update, teacher spotlight interviews, club/intramural information, special events, including STEM for girls and PTO events, 100 Positives, Pledge of Allegiance, and more. The podcast is created with Canva, a digital design program. Canva allows the video to be created, shared with the staff, and allows collaborations between all involved. Canva also allows the podcast to be easily shared with staff each day. If you would like to see an episode, Mr. Smith is emailing you a link to view after the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Genevieve, and I'm going to update you on some of the events happening around GMS. I'm going to update you about 3 specific programs that we've continued to improve our students this year at GMS. Panther Block is an opportunity to give students a way to grow so they can reach their full potential. Every 6 weeks, a student is placed into a reading or math Panther Block that can help with a series of skills specifically designed for that group of students. As a school, we hope this opportunity can improve MAP scores and overall grades. School assemblies show positivity, school spirit, and a little bit of friendly competition. Our school has color wars, where if you're on Team Gold, you will go against Team Blue. Our first assembly went great, and students had a ton of fun dressing up for our Spirit Week leading up to the assembly. Student of the Month is a program at GMS and can recognize our students who are going above and beyond school expectations. Teachers nominate students that show a specific trait during school hours that is talked about in advisory. The trait changes monthly and, for example, can be perseverance or determination. I do have one more special celebration to share. The staff and students of GMS would like to congratulate Ms. Schmid on defending her dissertation on phonomyological study of the reading motivation of ethnic minority developing readers. The title is They Will and Do Read. After all of our hard work, we're now happy to introduce you to a new staff member, Dr. Schmid.
All right, thank you very much for those reports. I will turn it over to Dr. Glickman for the superintendent's report.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to actually hand this over first to Amy Gluck to talk with us about some professional development.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. I have a few things to talk to you about. We've been busy here supporting our staff. I first want to talk about math. As you know, we have a new resource this year. I've talked about it a few times. We have for both IM, which is illustrative math, which is K-5, and for Amplify, which is for 6-8. We've had some, it's already started and it's going to be continuing all through now until January. But we've had some in-classroom lesson studies as well as some in-classroom coaching. And so that's been an opportunity for our staff to see lessons in action and be able to ask some of our vendors some just questions about the implementation of math. They have been incredibly complimentary of our students too, in the way that our students are learning and what they're seeing happening within math in our classrooms. So that is one layer. So our teachers had training, now our teachers have been implementing, and now we're giving them more support in their classrooms. In addition to that, for math, we're providing support for our administrators and coaches, where we're having some specific trainings for them on both of those resources on what should they be looking for to be able to support staff and to be able to help to grow their skills as well. In terms of literacy, we are also doing some in-classroom coaching. We've been doing this for the last couple of years in Scholastic for K-5. We're continuing to do that. As you know, we changed the number of minutes in 5th grade for literacy instruction, so wanted to provide some additional support for that as we went from 106 minutes last year in 5th grade to 70 minutes this year, so wanted to be able to support our teachers with what does literacy instruction look like. In addition to that, we're working with our coaches and spending a lot of time talking about the Illinois Literacy Plan and word work specifically, and what does that look like at the upper grades as well as at the younger grades in primary. And we are working with the Lake County ROE to get some things planned for literacy for 6-8 as well, so that is to come. And then lastly, I told you there's a lot of PD happening. We had a half day last week, as many of you know, and that was spent on some really specific professional development for our staff. The majority of our staff were together for 2 hours at Park Campus, and we learned from Amber Bogren, who helped us to learn a little bit more focused on supporting our students' language development, specifically for multilingual learners. We are going to continue some series with that. I had the opportunity to be able to present alongside Amber and want to thank her for bringing her expertise to our district. And so we'll continue that at upcoming half days in November. We're going to continue learning a little bit more about that. In addition to that, our social workers, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, and hearing itinerants worked with Dr. Lorenzo and Mrs. Wicki to be able to talk about some more specific things for their roles, and they will continue that work as well. And then our PSRP staff were given some time to complete some of their compliance training. So everybody was very involved that afternoon. So it was a great half day, and we've gotten some positive feedback about it.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to hand this over to Heather Lorenzo to give us an update as well.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am going to share with you about our current cyclical monitoring that we are starting for our special education department. ISB is responsible for ensuring that our districts across this state are effective in offering programming and education for our students with disabilities in accordance with IDEA. And we've been monitored for many years using indicators of compliance like timelines, percentage codes for access to general education and things like that. And more recently, ISB decided to adopt a more comprehensive view for their monitoring. And this is called cyclical monitoring, and every district in the state of Illinois will be placed, or is placed, on one of 6 cohorts and will be monitored on a 6-year cycle. So this year is our year. And the monitoring includes a small team that we are just getting started on that work. And our work is to review all of our practices, procedures, and our IEP development for our students with disabilities in our district. So it's going to be a lengthy process and a lot of hard work. And we are really looking forward to those results to see what we're doing well and where we need to grow. It is a year-long monitoring process, so we should hear back around March or April on our performance. So wishing the team well on that.
Thank you. We know that will be a lot of work, so thank you for that. I'd like to highlight a beautification project we've had at one of our schools. Do we have a photo? We have a photo. Wonderful. Well, Avon Center School has our very first electronic digital sign. We're really happy, and if you look at some photos from the past, you can see it was time for an update. You can see we've got our wonderful Avon Nova's emblem on there as well, and we'd like to thank the PTF at Avon who helped to fund this project. So it was a combination of funds that came through the PTF and also from the school district as well. I'm curious, are students in the room, anybody went to Avon? Anybody? Oh, no Avon students. Okay, well, I can tell you it was time for new signs. So there you go. We're happy. Thank you for putting that up. All right, and then finally, don't know if you realize that next week is Principal Appreciation Week. And I have a proclamation that's actually from our governor. And although it is a little bit lengthy, I'm going to read it, but because I'm a teacher along with being a superintendent, I have a little job for everyone. Everyone here either knows principals or is a principal or has been a principal. So all of us have something in our minds that we might appreciate our principals for. So take a moment and think about what those things might be, because I want you to listen for them. All right? So here we go. Whereas school principals play an integral role in nurturing a positive, student-centered culture in elementary, middle, and high schools across the state of Illinois. And whereas school principals are responsible for attracting and retaining the best teachers and support staff to ensure that each child receives an equitable educational opportunity and services to reach their potential. And whereas it is the primary responsibility of the state of Illinois to provide adequate and equitable resources for schools so that all students have access to a quality education and foundation for a successful future. And whereas the Illinois Principals Association, which represents over 6,900 educational leaders statewide, believes that educators' experiences and voices are essential to crafting effective educational policy. And whereas the Illinois Principals Association is committed to developing, supporting, and advocating for innovative educational leaders through high-quality professional development, as we were just discussing, networking opportunities, and legislative advocacy. And whereas school leaders face many obstacles in supporting and educating our young people, and it is through their perseverance, passion, and hope-filled leadership that Illinois continues to produce quality, career-ready students. And whereas we must continue to encourage, support, and recognize our school principals who have a positive impact on Illinois students and the educational system in the land of Lincoln. Therefore, I, J.B. Pritzker, Governor of the State of Illinois, do hereby proclaim October 19th to 25th, 2025 as Principals Week, and specifically October 24th as Principals Day in Illinois, to recognize principals and the Illinois Principal Association for all that they do to help our children learn and succeed. So, next week, happy Principals Week. We actually did celebrate with our principals a little bit yesterday, a little early with a breakfast, but really from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank all of our building leaders for all that you do to make an enormous difference for our students every day. And that is the end of the superintendent's report.
All right, thanks, Dr. Glickman. Okay, we are now to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? Along with the personnel report we received earlier today.
I'll move. I'll second, but I do have a quick just correction. It's a small one, but on the regular meeting minutes and the policy meeting minutes, it says that I brought up the idea of attending to the mission statement. Could you change it to read the vision statement, please? Thank you.
Braden?
Aye.
Nash?
Aye.
Hune?
Aye.
Halverson?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
And Weedman?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to action items. And the first is a motion to approve board policies 119. Did I get that right, Sue? All right.
So moved.
I'll second.
Weedman. Miller.
Aye.
Nash.
Aye.
Braden.
Aye.
Hune.
Aye.
And Halverson.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. I need a motion to approve the resolution of the proposed 2025 tentative tax levy and schedule the public hearing on the 2025 tax levy and issue a notification to the public.
I'll move.
Second.
Hune.
Aye.
Braden.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Weedman.
Aye.
And Nash.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next, I need a motion to approve the resolution authorizing and providing for the issue of not to exceed $17,250,000 general obligation debt certificates, limited tax, for the purpose of improving the sites of and altering, repairing, and equipping school buildings and facilities, authorizing an installment purchase agreement, and authorizing the proposed sale of said certificates to the purchaser thereof.
I'll move.
I'll
I'll
second.
Halverson.
Aye.
Braden.
Aye.
Hune.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Nash.
Aye.
And Weedman.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next motion is to approve the contract award for construction management services.
A move.
I'll second.
Yeah.
We'll have the motion, then we can talk.
I'll move.
Do we get a second?
Did-
Okay, I'm sorry. It's all my
Sorry.
fault, because I was trying to indicate to Mrs. Braden that we did want a moment to talk a little bit about this one, that's all.
Okay. And am I asking?
Well, actually, I want to give Chris a moment. No, I was looking at Chris.
Okay, good evening. Tonight, we're bringing a recommendation for approval of a construction manager contract with Bear Construction to support our upcoming multi-year capital improvement program, which is projected at approximately $37 million. The selection process began on September 2nd, when the district issued a request for qualifications, an RFQ, for construction management services. The RFQ was broadly advertised and distributed to qualified firms, and by the September 19th deadline, we'd received 10 proposals from well-established firms across the region. Our evaluation team included the district administration and WALD in an advisory capacity, reviewed all submissions using a standardized rubric. That rubric consisted of each firm's K-12 experience, project team qualifications, approach to cost control and scheduling, fee structure, and alignment with our goals, particularly around summer construction, phasing, and minimizing disruption to instruction. Following this initial review, 4 firms were invited for interviews on October 7th. During these interviews, we focused on their experience managing multi-site summer construction programs, the lessons learned from similar school projects, the specific staff they would assign to CCSD 46, and how they approach sustainability and equity, both within their own organizations and in partnership with school districts. Reference checks were conducted after the interviews, and based on the combination of written proposals, interviews, and references, the evaluation team determined that Bear Construction provided the strongest overall qualifications and alignment with the district's priorities. Therefore, the administration is recommending that the board approve a contract for construction management services with Bear Construction pending final legal review. We're pleased to have Anthony and Cassidy from Bear Construction here with us this evening, representing the team that will work working closely with the district and WALD throughout the program.
You don't have a presentation.
a little bit later. That's right. Preview, special preview. And definitely connected to your work.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have something you want to share, or are you just ready for questions?
We'll just introduce ourselves. My name's Cassidy Tarpey. I'm an account executive at Bear Construction. Have worked in the education space my entire career on the construction side, and we're very excited and honored to partner with the district on all of these exciting projects in the next few years.
And I am Anthony Izzy. I'm a vice president over at Bear Construction. Been working in school districts and with governmental municipal agencies for over 20 years. I hate to say that, but just to echo what Cassidy said, we're very honored to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions before the vote? Okay.
So just to give you some context about where I'm coming from, we had the sustainability audit from our health and adequacy, or our educational adequacy report, and then we've got an equity policy and a resource conservation policy, and I'm looking at kind of how they intersect. So my understanding is that we want to focus on waste, both protecting our students and our staff from anything that we take out of our buildings and in our new projects. And we also want to think about the future and our future board and the students when we're gone. The materials that we choose for those rehabs now will be the garbage in 20 years from now. So kind of with that as context, I'm just looking for advice and just looking for your guidance. So I have two questions. The first one is kind of what are you learning about designing for reuse and remanufacture and in terms of materials selection?
So the construction design process is a little bifurcated. So Matt's here, he can, I think, speak more to the design side. They're way more ingrained than we are in terms of the materials and what's out there. From a construction standpoint, we focus on the waste that we're generating and how to minimize that and ensure that we're being efficient for the environment, everybody involved in the project. And then we also have a mechanical engineer on staff that would work with our architects to kind of identify the most sustainable, HVAC equipment and things like that. But Matt can talk a little bit about the design process and how we work together to achieve that.
Okay.
Okay.
And you know what, and maybe if you could just speak from your expertise then, in terms of the end pollution, like what can we do so that we can divert a lot of that from the landfill that's right down the road from us?
So we have over 15 LEED accredited professionals. We're currently working on well buildings and LEED certified buildings. One of the biggest LEED certified buildings we've done is the old post office downtown, where it generated an immense amount of waste. So we're accustomed to, and on this project we do no different. Typically we're selecting waste providers that recycle the majority of the material coming off site. They provide reports for that, shows where the material's going, how much actually ended up in a landfill versus what got recycled and reused or sent to areas that needed that type of material. So that's something that we commonly do on all of our projects to limit waste. So like for the old post office, it was an immense amount of waste and 98% of it was recycled. So those are the things we do from a construction standpoint, aside from working with the architect on what types of materials or helping with suggestions on that.
Fantastic, thank you. By chance, the reports that you mentioned, is any of that data available to our Resource Conservation Committee? They have to do an annual report?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know if that could be part of it.
It's a report that gets generated. It's kind of normal course of business, so, for us.
Wonderful, thank you.
Did
Did you have another question, Christy?
I actually asked them both.
Oh, great.
So, thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
Excellent.
Unless there's anything else we should be thinking about or anything else we need to,
I think that'll all
You would
come out
recommend.
as we get more ingrained and start working together to kind of see where the design is at and those types of things.
great. And I'll just wait. Matt, you're going to talk about design then? Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
Braden,
Aye.
Halverson,
Yes.
Miller. Aye. Hune,
Aye.
Weedman.
Aye.
And Nash.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Congratulations, welcome. All right, our final motion, I need a motion to approve the reduction in force of the operations and maintenance assistant position.
I'll move.
Second.
Miller. Aye. Nash.
Aye.
Hune,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye.
and Halverson.
Aye. Thank you. Lots of action items tonight. Brings us to unfinished business, and this is business that we've talked about before and we'll continue to talk about, and it's time for the design. So we'll have a Media Center design update.
Thank you. And we are very excited to introduce you to Matt Verdon from Wold. And before you start speaking, sir, I just want to mention that we have our wonderful students here at the table. And every time we have students at the table, I go and I meet them with them ahead of time, or sometimes Mrs. Gluck does. And we talk a little bit about the board agenda and what might be topics that they might have an interest in making comments on or having questions about. And I think we agree that this was the one that might be of most interest to you. So just letting you know, sir, it's possible you're going to get some questions from these students.
Fire away.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for having me come back. We're going to talk tonight, kind of just a brief agenda here. We're going to start with a design recap, or a recap of the design process. We've talked about this several times over the course of the past several months, but just want to do a refresher of kind of how we got to where we're at today. We'll then dive into the final building designs, the culmination of what we've been putting together, all that effort that's been going in. We'll talk about the furniture selection process that the district has undertaken. We'll give you an update on where we're at with the budget, and then also with the schedule. So just the recap on the design process. If you remember, we focus very much on a participatory planning process where we get a lot of voices from the district and the community involved. And it started with a core planning group way back in, I think, February. We had 20 to 30 participants, if I remember correctly, that met over the course of several evenings, over several weeks. And they're charged with really thinking about big picture stuff. They're thinking about the district as a whole, and what do we want that vision to be for what our modern media centers are going to look like. They were really focused on a couple of things. One is to create guiding principles, which are a very subjective sort of, the media center should be the hub of the building. They're things that are kind of graded on a scale. As well as design criteria, which are more objective. It's going to seat 35 students. Did we meet that criteria, yes or no? And these are the things that really start to guide us as designers and influence us in how we start to apply that criteria to the designs of your building. Another key piece that came out of that were the components that make up what that media center looks like and how they're adjacent to each other, how they connect to each other, what are the lines of sight, how do students move through that. So we come up with these bubble diagrams that kind of demonstrate and show in the ideal world how that movement all happens and where those spaces are next to each other. We then apply that to each of the buildings to see how we can make that work and what's the space that's available to make sure it's adequate for what you need to have as far as housing the right amount of books, the right amount of students, that sort of stuff, and that starts to define then do we need to move walls and take a bigger picture approach to this. From there, we start to give that some more definition, and then we start to get into a little more detail. So as those plans start to develop with more specificity, we create our user group process. So now we're bringing in staff and even students who are part of this process as well to start talking about how they're going to use the space on a day-to-day basis. So we're getting into the detail of, this piece of equipment's going to be here. It needs 2 data connections and power. It needs to be in this location, and kind of really starting to talk about what that information is going to be. We start talking about casework. How much shelving do you need? Does it need to be open? Does it need to be closed? How much storage do you need? All of that sort of stuff. And those really become the conduit of information from your staff back to that core planning group to our team and down to our staff. So everybody's working from that same playbook as we work through the entire process, and everybody knows that we're all going to see the same things and get the right results. We then start to get into some of the fun stuff, which is then applying the design to the building. So we had another committee of stakeholders from each building. One of the things that really came out during the core planning group and the user group was this idea of a biome theme and aligning that with your building. So the biome kind of became the overarching theme that was applied for the entire district. And each then design committee had a task of how do we apply that to our specific building to align not just with what the theme is for that building, but also complement finishes and colors and furniture in a way that, like I said, complements with existing color schemes and building colors and themes that are in the building. So they were focused, like I said, on materials, colors, furniture, all of that fun stuff. So with that, these are some of the, I'll run through some floor plans and final renderings of each building. We'll start with Meadow View, which landed on a floral meadow design. So this is the floor plan. Fairly minimal changes to the footprint. And as far as the layout, the story area is right where it was before. But we opened up what used to be the computer lab. We'll now have an operable wall that opens into the large group area of the media center, which is part of that feedback we got from the core planning group. Here's some views of what that space will start to look like. So you can see we started to bring some of that color in to align with that floral meadow pattern. You can see where some of the furniture is starting to be modeled as well. Here you can see where we've got some murals then on the wall in that reading or in the story area. Try to bring some more interest to that. The great sight lines throughout from the circulation desk to everywhere. And then this is then what the makerspace would look like, which is a pretty standard classroom, but it's got a little bit more casework and a little bit more space for some of the fun stuff that happens in a makerspace. We then moved to Prairie View, which has got a grass prairie theme. This has probably got the most extensive work as far as moving walls within it, where we're opening that computer lab up in a little bit different way, but had to move some of the media center workspaces out of the way to make that happen, to make those sight lines work. Here you can see where that grass prairie started to bring in some greens of the grass, but also kind of that blue that is the current school color, and how that creates sort of like a babbling brook that likes to go through the space there, and also helps provide some guidance. Keep in mind, I was supposed to have two architects here with me. I'm a mechanical engineer, so understand that this is not my cup of tea to be talking about design. But they ended up being sick, so they couldn't make it, so forgive me. But here you can see another shot of that where you've got the greens and the blues there at play. And again, here's a view of that maker space there. We then look at Frederick, this building here. So this is the Sand and Sea theme. This is going to be a little bit more, it's got both a STEM and a makerspace. So instead of the makerspace opening up to the media center, as we get to the older grade levels, the makerspace and the STEM are going to open up to each other to allow for a little bit more coursework that happens concurrently with those groups. Here you can see one of the options we'll talk about here in a second will be considered as actually closing off that upper level hallway that's currently open right now, and can be a challenge from an acoustic standpoint to that space. We also then have some small group rooms that are being built out here on the side to create some small group areas to work collaboratively. Here's a view from the other side of the room looking across at that, where you can see that mural and the kind of the sea and the waves and stuff sort of working its way through as a theme, as well as the falcons hanging from the ceiling. Here in the makerspace, this is showing the makerspace and the STEM lab opened up to each other with that operable wall fully open. It could be closed off, obviously, to make it two individual spaces, but it starts to, with the old, as we move up in grade level, the finishes start to become a little more sophisticated, start to become a little bit more of an older student feel. Similarly at Park, where it's a forest theme, decent amount of work here to kind of open up that work area in the middle and create a little bit more connection between some of those spaces. The forest theme here starts to feel a little bit more literal, just the fact that how the columns work in that space, we could start to really bring some of the tree feel to some of that as well, was just a good touch for that. Here's a view of that story area in the corner. And then again with the maker space and the STEAM lab opening up to each other. As I mentioned, the administration worked with a vendor on getting some furniture selected, where they're getting close to nailing that down as well. The furniture vendor was able to take some of our drawings and provide 3D views of the space to start to see how that furniture laid out in there. You can see it's a good mix of your traditional tables and chairs sort of stuff, but also brings in some of that flexible seating, some soft seating, some creative ways to show off and showcase some of the books that are of the theme of that day or that period of time. Just really gives a lot of options of how to organize the space and move things around for different uses. We talk about budget. When we started this process back in February or whenever that was, we'd started with a budget of about $3.8 million. We then, through the grant proceeds that we're receiving through the state, added another $451,000, so we were at $4.3 million for an overall budget for the project. Our most recent estimate that came in just a couple weeks ago, do not get accustomed to these being within $2,000 of each other, but they came in pretty much spot on. So we're feeling really confident about where we're at. We've also worked a couple of alternates into the project, the first two there being, like I mentioned, the enclosure of the second floor space up here at Frederick, as well as at Meadowview, some of the ceiling that surrounds that space. There's got to be some work in that space, so while we're taking the ceilings down to do some work, it would make sense to put a new ceiling back up, just take advantage of that. The three alternates at the end there are tied to the grant, so because we have to hit that $451,000 amount for the grant, we want to make sure that we've got some flexibility that if the exterior improvements at the 4 buildings that we're doing the media center work at, if those come in too low or under that $450,000 threshold, we want to add scope to the project to make sure we get that to honor that grant obligation as well. So with that brings us to schedule. This month, our goal was to do a final page turn, which we did a couple weeks ago. Like I said, we got our final document estimate. That's all done. The CM RFP was underway and interviews were conducted. That's good to go. And we're here tonight at the board update, presenting the final presentation as well as awarding our partners with Bear their contract. So the next step, what we had previously talked about from a schedule standpoint was we were going to be out to bid starting tomorrow, and we will be awarding the contract at the November board meeting. With the CM coming on board, they've got some work to do ahead of time to do their effort for a few weeks, and then they'll take over and kind of start managing that bid process and the construction process as well. So we're going to slide everything a month. So instead of coming back at the November board meeting to award, we're going to take the next few weeks of this month to let them do their thing. We'll go out to bid the month of November, and we'll be back in December to award the contract for construction. And then from a construction standpoint, still on schedule for summer of '26.
Before the board asks questions of Matt, I want to point out a few things. Thank you so much, Matt. First of all, let's just pause on this slide for a moment. I just want to remind everyone in the room that you only saw designs for 4 schools because we're doing 4 schools this upcoming summer. The other 3 will happen the following summer. And so all of this work that you're seeing now, you'll be seeing again in a year with brand new designs with new biomes. Can we go back for a moment to slide 24? Can you bring us back? Thank you. Oh,
what is that one?
I wanted the furniture selection one. Okay. I really want to pause on this slide for a moment because trying to picture what's really in this slide is what's going to help make each one of those media centers really come alive. So what you're looking at is very carefully selected. It's taken a long time with very careful selection of finishes of exactly which colors to go with which biomes. So you can't tell that from here, right? Because every single school has different ones, but very specialized tables. If you look kind of, oh gosh, you see the thing that looks like, I don't know, a big stack of Oreo cookies maybe? Okay, those are called lily pads. And that's soft seating that kids will be able to just take one out and go sit somewhere. If you look down at the bottom right corner, that is called a grassy what? Grassy ot. That's a grassy ot. And it's literally grassy, and they will be in our schools, and kids will be able to sit on those. On the other side, it's like these soft steps that will be great for kids to sit on. If you look at that thing that looks almost like a puppet show box, It's not really a puppet show box. That's something that kids will be able to sit in. So I'm just sharing that with you. If you look at that table, that you can tell it comes apart, right? Comes apart, and then there's, 6 seats around it? So those tables were very carefully selected for the media centers so that we generally may sit like that, but we might pull them apart so kids can sit in small groups. The table underneath it, is that one of the A-frame? Okay, because there's another kind as well. All right, so and then also look at the top right, you can see what will be our new, what do we call it? Circulation desk, which is going to be brand new. Let's go to slide, I'm sorry to make you stand there, Matt.
That's okay.
But
when you retire, if you want to be a furniture salesman,
okay,
I think you got that.
thanks.
It's coming up.
And we don't even have them here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Frederick's slide, I think is 18, the Sand and Sea for a moment. Frederick School, I think it's 18. All right, perfect. So that's not going to be white furniture, right? That's going to be special furniture, very carefully selected to go with that room. So I'm only just pointing that out to you because as gorgeous as these slides are, it's going to be so much more spectacular when we have it all together with this gorgeous furniture in it as well. Okay, sorry. Now, any questions for Matt? Yeah.
Not a question, but a comment, Matt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to acknowledge the intentionality with the ceilings, because oftentimes when spaces are being rehabbed or reconstructed, it's, the physical space here, and, it's not like 3D or, and live, full dimensional. So I thought that intentionality was really awesome, and it really just makes the spaces come to life even more.
Absolutely.
I'll just go back to my original question. So what are
Yes, I forgot to
what are
bring
you
that up.
learning about materials? Like, we've done some schools and we'll do another round of this. What are you learning, or what advice can you give us about material selection?
So all of the furniture we're selecting, furniture finishes, carpets, paints, all that fun stuff. It's all low VOC, so no, if not no VOC, or if not low, it's no VOC. So there's no off-gassing, none of that. That's going to impact the indoor air quality. A lot of the materials contain recycled content or are recyclable upon the end of the life. So we're very much focused on that as well. We're not really touching much from a system standpoint, HVAC-wise, to talk energy consumption. So there's not really anything on that front. But lighting-wise, it's obviously all LED and low energy use and low intensity, and dimmable and occupancy sensors and all that fun stuff too. So.
Great. And I know just because we haven't done a lot of footprint extension, there's already tons of savings in that.
Correct.
Do you have anything specific to PFAS? And if you don't, that's fine. I'm kind of catching you off guard here.
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I know our student board members. I'm very curious to hear your questions and comments.
So I know these are most of the designs for the younger kids besides Frederick, but as the students get older, or especially for GMS, is there like specific areas to study? Because most of the furniture was for a group of kids, or some special seats where multiple kids would sit. But is there any furniture or areas where students can sit individually to study?
There is. So I think we've got that in some of these images. So here you can kind of see the counter along the back of the story area. That'll have seating adjacent to it that could be individual, it could be group. To Dr. Glickman's point, a lot of that furniture is flexible in the fact that it can move around, so there's flexibility to how you use the space. We also have what are called small group rooms. They're 4 to 5 students, could also be an individual student, depending on how it's used. So one of the things that the core planning group really stressed during that design process was that flexibility and being intentional about students learning in different ways, and how can we provide those options to them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask if there was any way that students at GMS or anywhere are able to help out with the media center?
Yeah, for sure. So that I touched on that a little bit during the user group process, where we spent most of the time talking with staff about how they use the space.
One of the user group meetings was specifically involved students from those buildings as well. So we wanted to bring the students in and get feedback, and there were a lot of the ideas that came out of that. I think that's kind of where the biome theme really started from, was from the student feedback from that. So that really was the driver of the design, was the student input from a design aesthetic standpoint. And then also, you know, kind of how we use the spaces and what are the spaces that are fun or things that you think you would or wouldn't use. We like to get that feedback as well.
So I think we actually can make a commitment to you right now about that. Last year, we had meetings right at GMS with your group, students who have now graduated, that, as Mr. Verdon was saying, helped make decisions or help make recommendations. We will be coming to you to get feedback on Avon and Woodview and GMS. So we'll be doing that. We kind of have all this pre-work we have to do for this summer, and then as things are cooking, we'll be coming to you probably in the spring to talk about what's going to happen the following summer. And it'll be you giving us feedback.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention on the schedule slide too, was that now that we've kind of hit the bidding and get ready for construction part, starting February, March is probably when we're going to start that next round of design for the remaining buildings as well.
Okay, thank you.
For the Frederick one, I really love the whole layout, but you know the railing up above, I feel like they should cover it, like close it up. So because I remember when I was in Frederick, a lot of people used to look over and it was very dangerous. So I feel like we should, not block it off, but like make sure they don't like look over it.
100%, and that's what you can kind of see in this image. It's no longer is it a open railing that you're going to lean over, but it's got windows and glass there that are going to create not just an acoustic separation from the traffic of the corridor and to the media center, but also, like you said, a little bit safer environment so we don't have people tossing stuff over the edge or yelling and making ruckus kids.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because I knew a lot of people or saw a lot of people when I was in the library, like looking over and thinking that it's funny to put their life on the line. So I just want to think that's a great idea to kind of block off that area, and I really think that that could be beneficial for everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And where is the Frederick principal?
One more thing, if we can go back to the schedule again, please.
Oh, yep.
I just want to point a few things out to our board. There we go. All right, so as you can see, we've got a lot happening in the next couple of months. We are going to be starting to work with Bear as early as this week. All right, we're trying to get ourselves together just to make some decisions together and get some things in place for that bidding process. Board, I wanted you to know that it is possible that we'll be coming to you to do some kind of a special meeting in December just for the process of awarding the bids, because the one board meeting that we have in December is the 17th. And if necessary, we'll do it then, but we might want to get it going even sooner so that some of that, it just expedites the work. So I'm just letting you know that it's possible. So we may be coming back to you for that. If we need to do that, it could really be any night of the week, almost at any time. We don't need to have the whole board there. If we can't get the whole board, we just need a quorum so that we can award the bids. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I lost my teeth somewhere. So I appreciate the work, and I really did like the designs and the colors. As somebody who works in a building that is institutional gray the majority of the time, I can't tell you how refreshing it is to see. Was it soft gov?
Soft dove.
Oh, institutional gray. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the colors that are going into this, and I'd love to see this kind of expand out from just the media centers to other areas, because I think it makes a world of difference for the work environment and the learning environment. If they're in a place that they feel down and drab-in, that's what the kind of kid we're going to get. Yep. And I think we need happier spaces. So But I thank you for the design and the work, and I really did like them, so.
Thank you. And I just want to thank everybody that was a participant on the core planning group, the user groups, the design committee. And it was a big ask. You guys have a lot. It's not your day job. You still have your normal 9 to 5 to do. So there's a lot of night and summer meetings that your staff attended. Just want to thank everybody for that effort. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Matt. See ya in December. All right, perfect. Okay, that brings us to new business. Our first item of new business is the Durham contract extension.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. Tonight we're bringing forward a discussion item regarding the renewal of our student transportation contract with Durham School Services for the 26-27 and the 27-28 school years. As you know, Durham has been our transportation provider for several years, and they've continued to deliver reliable service with stable driver staffing, a challenge that many districts in our region have struggled with. Maintaining that consistency is important for our families, for our students in their daily routines, and for our district's operational stability. Under state statute, districts are allowed to enter into agreements that they deem appropriate, and this 2-year renewal was negotiated jointly with Grayslake High School District 127. That collaboration ensures that both districts are operating under the same terms and rate structure, helping us maintain regional consistency and cost alignment. The proposed renewal includes an annual increase of 4% in each of the 2 years. To put that in context, our current agreement provided increases of 5 and 6 in the previous 2 years. So this renewal actually represents a moderation of recent cost growth. From a financial standpoint, the agreement provides predictability and stability in one of our largest contract services and allows us to plan with confidence while maintaining a strong service and avoiding the uncertainty and disruption that can come with going out to bid in a tight labor market. This item is for discussion only, but we wanted to bring it forward now so the board is aware of the terms and rationale behind the recommendation.
Thanks, Mr. Wildman. Any questions from the board at this time?
I do. Was there any appetite between the 3 entities of doing a longer contract, or was this about as long as you guys could agree on?
I think we, both 127 and ourselves didn't want to enter into anything longer. 2 years was what we were asking for, and that's what Durham responded with. In 2 years, we may well go out to bid together.
Thanks, Mr. Wildman. Okay, our second item of new business is the IASB delegate. And, board, we need to decide who is going to represent us in the IASB delegation, where there's really only, I believe, one resolution up, a legislative resolution up, but there are a number of updates to the IASB constitution, is what we understood from our dinner, the update that we were given at our regional dinner last week. So I guess the first decision would be who? And I know Mrs. Nash and Mrs. Albert made the fabulous duo last year. She might be looking for a partner in this tonight, so.
Christy, I'm wondering, I thought we decided this. I thought Stephen was going to do it this year and I was going to do it next year.
Did we? When did we
I have a vague, maybe I dreamed it. I have a year ago about now.
Maybe
Oh.
you're volunteering.
Sounds good.
I think I'm volunteering, Stephen.
So
Or I
we're,
can switch.
yeah, and I
too,
can
but-
confirm that with Stephen, for sure. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I have a memory that we did talk about it and decide already.
All right. That's fine.
Unless someone else wants, I mean.
Yeah. Why don't we double check with Stephen and find out, and then if that's not the case, we can come back and have the conversation. How are you feeling about Mrs. Nash? Okay.
Well, I think whoever does it needs to lead discussion at the next board meeting about, so that you
Yeah.
can come to consensus on your thoughts about that, so.
Would it make sense to have an alternate to Stephen?
I mean,
Well,
right,
we
you're
usually
not going to
do.
be able to
We usually do.
decide at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So if Stephen isn't going to do it, who will do it?
So we'll have Stephen Tamika.
At the Triple I conference? Okay.
Okay. And then, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say it's Saturday, the 22nd, right? The delegation assembly.
Usually it's on
usually
Saturday, yes.
Saturday morning.
Yep.
Okay. So timing-wise, we need to discuss at the next meeting and vote at the following meeting? Is that your thinking,
I don't
Dr.
think you
Glickman?
usually
or
vote. I think
we
you just come to consensus. Right.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
would be segue to our topics for future agenda items
Yep.
then. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, yep, I have that. Which, shall I go take it away? Okay. So November 5th is our next, well, I'm going to start by just talking about the regular meetings that we have planned because there are going to be some special board meetings that I want to talk about too. But regular meetings, November 5th, we have our Park Campus Wolves coming. So just like we had GMS students today, we'll have 8th graders, I think 8th, maybe 7th and 8th, I'm not sure, from Park coming on November 5th. We will also have some students from GMS coming because we are planning to celebrate some athletes, cross-country athletes, right? Amy Gluck will do an update for us about our school report card data. So she's got a lot of information to share. We'll do that IASB resolutions discussion led by one of the board members to be named, be confirmed later. We'll bring you an approval for that Durham contract. I think that was the only approval that will be needed that we're aware of right now. We also may be ready with a discussion of some safety and security improvements, intercoms, clocks, card access, and cameras for our K-4 schools. So we're hoping to be ready with that discussion November 5th. November 19th is our second of the year finance committee meeting. So that will be focused on the audit, but we'll also be talking about something called the 1% tax and getting some input from the board about your interest in that topic. It's board appreciation in November, so we might have a little board appreciation, which you know, yes, it means cake. It means cake. And we could potentially have a second cake reason, although I'm sorry to tell you it will still just be one cake, because we might be ready to welcome a new superintendent on November 19th, as in vote one in. You're not booting me out the door, I'm hoping on the 19th, but you may be ready to vote on a new superintendent on November 19th. Also, I believe if we talk about those safety and security improvements on November 5th, we may be bringing you contracts to vote on, right? On the 19th. Great. And then that brings us to December 17th. The only thing I have on that agenda at the moment is if you haven't voted on a new superintendent in November, you'll do it December 17th, but I'm sure there'll be much more to come on that date as well. As far as special board meetings, I mentioned already the one that we might need to find a date for in December. The other ones, board, I know you already have these dates, but I just wanted to make it public. There'll be a series of closed session special board meetings, hard to say, closed session special board meetings that are specifically about interviewing for the new superintendent. So community members, if you see you will see posted special closed session board meeting, that's what that's about, and they're closed session. They're not open for the public to come to. And that's it for the meetings to come.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have any public comments for the end of our meeting?
We do not.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, I need a motion to adjourn. We do have a closed session this evening, so I need a motion to... Oh, I do. I have it. To move into closed session for the purposes of Act 5 ILCS 122C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second.
Hune,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
Miller. Aye. Halverson,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye.
Braden, and student reps Johan Akumbi, Genevieve Hollistein. Yes, there you go. And Charlie Jurosik. She's gone. Okay. She's
Great. All right, thank you. We do not anticipate taking any action after tonight's closed session, so we will be adjourning directly from the closed session this evening. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.